how can you be sure that it was actually P. Diddy?
Because I was standing by the front door. I watched the entire thing out. I had no reason to believe that it would escalate to a shooting. It was just male machismo and bravado at first. A lot of pushing and shoving, raised voices, hands. But then I saw them reach in their waist and draw from their hips.
If they did ballistic tests and Puff had gunpowder on him, why didn't the police go through with charging him?
Latanya Rubin has not begun to see reparations for what happened to her life. How did NBC get to profit off of it?
Jennifer Lopez is in big trouble after some old secrets came out. It turns out she may have been involved in a serious crime with Diddy, the rapper and music producer. At first, both of them managed to avoid getting in trouble.
Days of deliberations, the jury now appears to be focusing on the gun possession and bribery charges against Sean Puffy Combs. This afternoon, jurors sent the judge 2 notes, one of which asked for a transcript of a phone message Combs left Wardell Fenderson, once his driver, now the prosecution's star witness. During the trial, Fenderson testified that Combs was armed the night of the shooting at Club New York, and later pressured him to claim ownership of a pistol police found when they pulled over Combs' Lincoln Navigator as it fled the shooting.
And I just want to make you feel, comfortable, you know what I'm saying? Make your family feel comfortable.
What exactly Combs meant by that is in dispute, but the prosecution claims the rapper offered Fenderson $50,000 or a diamond ring to take the rap for the gun. The jurors also wanted to hear a readback of testimony relating to Combs' former girlfriend, actress-singer Jennifer Lopez, who was in the Navigator when it was stopped by police. An officer testified that everyone in the SUV was ordered to put their hands on the vehicle, but Lopez walked away, saying she was going home. As she was being detained, a gun was discovered in the vehicle. At that point, a sergeant on the scene ordered everyone who was in the vehicle under arrest. The officer quotes Lopez as saying, "It's not my gun."
They are floating issues that are old.
Jaguar Wright told us that J-Lo is going to be investigated with Diddy. Jaguar Wright said that Diddy and J-Lo are both going to be investigated for the 1999 nightclub shooting where the victim said that Diddy pow-powed her in the face.
On December 27, 1999, a young woman named Nada was out at a club when she says she got shot in the face by Diddy. She wasn't involved in any fight. She was just there. That same night, a rapper named Shine was also at the club. He ended up taking the blame and went to prison for almost 9 years. Diddy was found not guilty. Nada was only 19 back then and is now finally sharing her story.
Having been shot by someone that was allowed to come into the gun when I couldn't bring in a poem, I would absolutely unequivocally like the case reopened. It needs to be reopened. And the saddest part for me is, had people taken what I said more seriously and listened more intently, 24 years worth of people probably would not have had to suffer.
Yeah, and I ask you this respectfully, just because I think people at home might be wondering, and I've never been shot. I can't imagine what that's like. But, in the chaos of that moment, and it's a club and there's people all around, how can you be sure that it was actually P. Diddy?
Because I was standing by the front door. I watched the entire thing out. I had no reason to believe that it would escalate to a shooting. It was just male machismo and bravado at first. A lot of pushing and shoving, raised voices, hands. But then I saw them reach in their waist and draw from their hip. And I knew. I instantly turned to my friends and told them, be careful, watch out. And when I turned back, I know, and I've said over and over, I've heard the voice of God said, you are about to be calm down. And as I said no, I looked straight forward ahead and I watched the muzzle flash from both of their guns, and I felt the impact to my face instantly.
Wow.
There's no doubt in my mind who shot.
When Nada started talking, people noticed that Diddy was paying attention. Jennifer Lopez got pulled into the lawsuit, and some believe she helped hide what really happened in 1999, even possibly helping get rid of the gun. Some think Diddy and J-Lo blamed Shine to save themselves.
What really happened with J-Lo, Shine, and Diddy, it became an episode for Law and Order SVU. A lot of money was made off of that. And guess what happened in the end of that episode? When they finally tracked down the starlet who they were hiding from everyone so she never had to testify. The male rapper took the charge So the case was closed, and that's when she finally admitted that it was her that did the powing. Ice-T knows a lot of people from that time, and he used to frequent at that club. He would have known all of the real details of everything that happened that night. Natanya Rubin has not begun to see reparations for what happened to her life. How did NBC get to profit off of it?
So after him and Diddy fell out, he started working with Jodeci more. I see. How you feel about the victim of the club shooting? I gotta ask you about this, man. How you feel about her coming out now saying that, Diddy, he shot her and not Shine? How you feel about that?
Well, the way I feel about that, the case is closed, bro. It can't be no double jeopardy. It can't be no retrial because they already had a trial and a man was convicted for her injuries. A man already did time for her injuries. You understand? If they would have to go back and see that if there was ballistic tests done on Jennifer Lopez, on Puffy, God bless the dead, on Wolf, did they do ballistic tests? And then see if they did ballistic tests and Puff had gunpowder on him, you know what I'm saying? Why didn't the police go through with charging him? Why didn't the police charge him? She could say that now. And she said that I don't take nothing from the victim. I don't take nothing from the victim. But her lawyer should have advocated. I know Puff and Shine, they had the same charges. But like I said before, and like Shine said also, Shine said this also, because it's true. Puff had witnesses that come in to testify against Shine and say they saw Shine do the shooting. So her making those statements now, and the case is over with, it's been what? Well, how many years it's been? 15, 20 years? 15, 17, 15. Shine went to jail for 10 years. It was in 99, right?
Police are now thinking about reopening the case and looking at Diddy's past, including the club shooting. What's surprising is how involved J-Lo might have been. While not a stickster story, some people question why she's speaking up now, wondering if she just wants attention.
Oh, well, why would he shoot you? What did you do? Did you owe him money? And I'm like, class, pay attention. Bullets don't have names and they don't have predetermined destinations. Once they come out of the gun, they're going to go wherever they go. And that's the thing about crime and shooting people. You cannot guarantee that what you're aiming at is what you're going to hit, because you might be a thug, but it doesn't mean you have good aim. You might be a criminal, but it doesn't mean you have good aim. And that is exactly how I sit here today, because some thug criminal with an attitude and a ego that was outside of control decided he was going to fire a gun in a crowded nightclub and shot me in my face. By the grace of God, I am here. The first thing I said when the bullet hit me, and listen, when right before the muzzle flash went off, when I had turned back to look, I heard God's voice say, relax, you are about to get hit, calm down. And when I screamed no, pop, pop, and it hit me dead in my face. And I never passed out. I never fell. I never cried. Everybody started running. And just like when you watch a TV show or a movie and there's one person standing in spot and everybody else is moving in fast motion and that one person is just in that spot, whatever they do looks a little slower, but that everybody else is moving fast. That's exactly what it was like. Everybody was running, trying to get places. It was chaos. It was chaos. When that door, the first few people ran out of the door flew open. And remember, I was in that line sight, straight from the staircase, straight towards the front door. As soon as the bullet hit me, I threw my hands up and screamed out, no, God, don't take me. I'm not finished raising my kids. I have work to do. I screamed that at the top of my lungs. I said, I'm not going. Don't take me. I have work to do. I have to raise my children. And as I said that, The door flew open and I could feel that total rush of that cold December 27th morning air. It was freezing out there. And it passed us right before the air. You ever watch Star Trek and they say, beam me up, Scotty, and they start to pixelate? My body started doing that. I felt my body pixelating. I didn't even feel like a solid person anymore. And as my body was pixelating, that's when the door flew open and the air rushed in.
Some people think Nada may have lied before to protect Diddy and now regrets it. Shine, the rapper who went to prison, says he only tried to defend Diddy, but Diddy let him take the fall.
God. I was putting my earring in, and my girlfriend Kelly, whose house we were at, had a big Rottweiler named Brick. Brick jumps up, stands fully tall, and puts his feet on my back, on my shoulder, and it knocks my earring out of my hand. The earring falls, goes under the fish tank that broke earlier that week. And so there were still little pieces of glass under there. So when I went to get my earring, cut my finger. Just all these little things trying to stop me from going out of the door. I go clean my finger, I get the piece of glass out, I clean it, I wrap it, put on a Band-Aid, put my earring in. As I reach the threshold, they're blowing the horn, telling me to hurry up. I step 1 foot across the threshold and a voice says, go change your shoes. Now, I knew it was God. God talks to me all the time. So I was like, if I change my shoes, I have to change all of my accessories. And God just repeated, go change your shoes. Now, I'm a stiletto girl. I would stand up in my beauty salon in stilettos for hours and hours on end. This particular day, I had on short ankle boots. I'm not a flats kind of girl. I don't really wear flats. Well, now I do. But back then I did not. Those boots that I had on were flats. The heel was probably just about this big, and they were ankle boots, some snakeskin ankle boots. And I went back and I changed the boots. The boots I changed into, I had just bought them a month earlier around Thanksgiving from Bloomingdale's. And there's a story behind it. But what I had a girlfriend named Pat, whose sons were like the neighborhood guys that watch your back and all of that, and kind of they're on the block. She asked me for a favor. I did her hair. She came back and paid me at a later date and gave me a gift card to Bloomingdale's. I took that that gift card, went to the store, bought these boots. So this is bigger than just change your boots. It was a act of faith and an act of love for a friend that was repaid to me. I took that act of love that was repaid, went and bought a pair of boots, and those boots saved my life. I put those boots back. I went and put those boots on, which had a heel on them, went down to the car. We went off to the club. They were complaining, you took so long, you're taking so long, we were going to leave you. We laughed it off. We got to the club. We pull up to the block, and there are 2 ambulances at the front of the block as you turn the corner, halfway in the street and halfway on the sidewalk on each side, narrowing the stream of traffic to 1 lane. And I instantly said, 2 ambulances? Are they expecting somebody to die? What is this? Because I had never, ever seen that at a club or at this club. And it just stood out as so weird to me. My friends were like, I had just gotten saved. So they were like, oh, come on, hallelujah. Don't start with all that. Making their jokes. You know how it is. I'm from New York. We got thick skin. I'm not bothered by it, but it stood out to me instantly. It was a very cold day. So when we got to the front of the club, there were lots of people outside.
Jennifer Lopez could be in serious trouble if the old stories are true. She always said Diddy didn't have a gun. But people are asking, if she had nothing to hide, why is she still close to him? Some think Diddy knows a secret about her and is using it to control her.
Did Puff ruin his life? Yeah, because Puff helped the prosecutors put Shine behind bars by getting the witnesses and giving them to the prosecutors so Shine could have that fall.
I was defending him, and he turned around and called witnesses to testify against me, and he pretty much sent me to prison. That is the context by which you must always describe that relationship. Yes, I forgave, I moved on, but let us not pretend as if I was in Miami for Thanksgiving. This is someone who destroyed my life.
Police searched Diddy's house and found videos of Jennifer Lopez doing things that could be embarrassing or damaging.
They go raid Puffy's house, and they get all these videos and
J-Lo doing this and J-Lo doing.
Some people think Ben Affleck, J-Lo's husband, left her to avoid being pulled into the drama. Ben likes to keep his life private, but J-Lo seems to enjoy being in the spotlight.
In about 99, 2000, Death Row started to announce that they were going to put out a Jennifer Lopez adult tape. Can you tell me about how you guys obtained it, what it was, and why it never came out?
Yeah. Ooh, that's a story. So there's definitely a tape out there. Definitely. So, of course, y'all know Suge was in jail. And as the groupie would say, Michelet was in charge. Okay. I ain't never claimed to be the president, so that's who should put in some paperwork in a deposition or something that obvious must. That Michelet was in charge. No, not in charge. The president. Okay. Who knows? But you ask anybody from any interviews, anything, from 1997 till 2002, even when Suge was home, who you had to go through to get anything done around Death Row. Anything. I mean, Suge Knight, personally, from his mama, sisters, his women, Sharitha Knight, anything from Suge Knight, David Kenner, any artist, anybody. Who did you go through? Who did you call? Who was the point of contact? Call Reggie. Even if you call the office, you call Roy. Who Roy gonna call? Reggie. Reggie would even decide from Roy if to put Suge on the phone with that person. And Suge would call me before he called that person. What that person want, Reggie? I don't care who it was. Any of those persons I just named.
There are even rumors that Diddy and J-Lo secretly got married back then. Not because they loved each other, but so she couldn't be forced to testify against him in court. That could explain why she stayed quiet all these years. Now that Diddy's in legal trouble again, J-Lo has gone quiet too. With new accusations coming out, people are asking more questions.
J-Lo is just, I don't know. Every man she's been with has said the same thing, except for Diddy. Diddy's the only one that said she was a great girlfriend and how he wish he hadn't messed it up.
Nah.
How is that the only man in her life that had regrets about their relationship and everybody else ran for the hills? Like, it's not nobody noticing that. That everybody else that's left her, oh, she was too this, she was this, she was that. But Diddy said she was perfect.
Maybe she was meant for a medal.
What happens if you're only perfect for the devil?
God damn.
What the f*** does that make you?
Damn.
Look at poor Jen and Ben.
Poor Jen and Ben. And Jen is...
She really thought she was going to make that story work. She was going to get her little white Irish Catholic boy and she was going to be happily ever after. And him and all of his white friends, and they were going to make, they was going to be the Rat Pack with a bitch. It was going to be great. Even Gwyneth Paltrow don't like her.
There's a
you know, they want her out of the Hamptons. She bringing too much of the block to the porch.
It just is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It just is what it is.
No, what it is she is the perfect example of what happens when you don't want to be yourself. She can't sing, but they got her a microphone and let her pretend.
So let me
She
ask.
was an okay actress, but, you know, she was good at acting. She'd been doing that all her life.
Diddy is trying everything to avoid punishment. He asked the judge to cancel the trial, but the judge said no.
And I just want to make you feel like comfortable, you know what I'm saying? And make your family feel comfortable.
What exactly Combs meant by that is in dispute, but the prosecution claims the rapper offered Fenderson $50,000 or a diamond ring to take the rap for the gun. The jurors also wanted to hear a readback of testimony relating to Combs' former girlfriend, actress-singer Jennifer Lopez, who was in the Navigator when it was stopped by police. An officer testified that everyone in the SUV was ordered to put their hands on the vehicle, But Lopez walked away, saying she was going home. As she was being detained, a gun was discovered in the vehicle. At that point, a sergeant on the scene ordered everyone who was in the vehicle under arrest. The officer quotes Lopez as saying, "It's not my gun."
Rumors in the media were swirling all over, and a lot of people wanted to hear from J-Lo about what happened that night at the 1999 club shooting, since Diddy's name was being plastered all over for allegedly being one of the people that discharged the firearm. Remember, you had Tanya Rubin sitting there saying, no, it wasn't just Shine. Diddy is the one that had possession of this firearm and popped it off, and it hit me in the face. Then eyewitnesses started coming out and talking about J-Lo and saying that they believe that she had a hand in this case.
Police charged Sean Puffy Combs and Jennifer Lopez with felony gun possession. Shine was accused of attempted murder and assault. Both men were released on bail. Charges against Lopez were dropped.
Diddy's lawyers say the stories about him aren't true. They claim that texts show Cassie, another woman involved, didn't know about what happened until later. They also say photos of injury.
To the Sean Diddy Combs trial, a new testimony from a woman who alleges Combs dangled her over a 17th floor balcony. Chief investigative correspondent Aaron Katursky is at the courthouse with more. Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning to you, Rebecca. An alleged sex victim is expected to testify here today that Sean Combs used lies, drugs, and threats to force her into freak-offs after the jury hears more from a different woman who claims Combs hoisted her over that balcony.
This morning, a critical witness for the prosecution, a woman testifying under the pseudonym Jane, who prosecutors say began a secret relationship with Sean Combs in 2020 and spent years in hotel rooms for forced sex. Jane's testimony will follow the cross-examination of Brianna Bongolan, known as Bonna, who described years of drug use with her friend Cassie Ventura. Cassie, all the way back! And she testified Ventura FaceTimed her before the premiere of her movie The Perfect Match.
I want to try something new.
What did you see? Prosecutors asked. Her black eye, Bongolan said. I was a little quiet, and I remember saying, I'm sorry. Bongolan testified Combs once hoisted her over this balcony after barging into Ventura's apartment on the 17th floor. For a split second, I was thinking about if I was going to fall. She said Combs kept yelling at her, you know what the expletive you did, before throwing her onto this furniture, leaving bruises. Combs denied it happened, and the defense challenged her account. Isn't it true you told the government just 2 days ago you couldn't recall the details of what happened on the balcony? A defense attorney asked. Bongolan replied, I don't remember.
A woman named Brianna testified, right, that Diddy held her over a balcony. Tell me about that.
Object. That did not even make it in the courtroom, bro. They objected to that, you know what I'm saying? Because for whatever reason, for whatever legal thing, it was a lawsuit that was civil that was going on. And they could not bring that into court. You only know that and because of the content creators who was there and people like me who were there who heard the stuff, it got objected to and they couldn't even bring that into court. But you know what? The prosecutors were like, yeah, we know they was going to do that. So we going to go a whole nother route. And they got it in there. I'm going to tell you how they got it in there. Because they tried to make Brianna seem like everything she said it was lies because of her drug use. Her still wanting to be around Puff. You understand? Her still going out to parties with them. Even after she said he choked her, he beat her, he did this. But people got to understand this. Until you around in that whole atmosphere with those people, you don't understand that the man that's the goal, has all the gold, makes all the rules. Now, see, people don't understand this, and let me break this down to you, bro. If Puff hates you, everybody that you made friends with, everybody that knows you, they hate you. They can't show you that they love or got love for you. Do you understand that? Those people in that industry clique, they'll go out on Mondays and Wednesdays and everything, have parties. If Puff ain't fucking with you, ain't nobody gonna fuck with you. So now, when them girls make up to him It's not just for them to make up to him. It's to show everybody that's around that me and Puff is still cool so they can start back treating you cool. That's just crazy to me, bro. I don't even understand why they give a but that's how it is, bro. That's why those people keep running back to him, because they know if he don't f with them, nobody's gonna f with them in that industry around there. Whether it's parties, whether it's work, socializing, none of that. So when he hung the girl over the back balcony, that couldn't get in the court because it was a civil suit that was pending or did like that. You understand what I'm saying? So they wouldn't let it in there. So what the prosecutors did was they got the text messages in there. So when y'all hear the news people out there, well, Brianna was lying. She was not telling the truth. She didn't remember this. She didn't remember that. Puff personal assistant KK and Cassie was texting on 9/30/2016 when it happened. Was texting. Yo, he put on, KK, we're going to take care of it. We're going to make sure everything's okay. We're sorry. He was drunk. He was high. We're going to make sure she be compensated for her injury. All that shit, bro. All that shit is in text messages, and the prosecutors got the text messages in there. So now the jury might not see, you understand? Can't hear Brianna part of it, but they can hear the text messages because there was a civil suit. You understand? And he was paying her millions of dollars for doing that. So all these content creators, all these news people that said the girl was lying, she couldn't have been lying because the text messages don't lie. They brought in a federal computer analyst who got the text messages out of Cassie and old girl's phone that states that they was talking about it in September in 2016, bro. The prosecutor got bombed for that. Now the jury gonna look at it like, yo, they were trying to make this girl out a lie, but they was telling this lie in 2016, and not one person said that was a lie back then. But all of a sudden, in 2025, it's a lie. The prosecutor cooked their ass on that one, bro. Cooked them.
Shown in court were taken in LA, but Diddy was in New York at the time. His lawyers are upset they weren't allowed to fully question witnesses. Right now, Diddy is facing charges for sex trafficking and moving people around for prostitution. He says he's not guilty. What do you think? Can he get out of this?